Welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, Tiff here from the Tiffany Micah podcast, and welcome to today's episode. So let me ask you this question. Do you really want to be an athlete? And I'm not just talking about being like really good at your sport that you're playing. I'm talking about, do you really want to be a world-class athlete? Because it's your career, isn't it? It's what you want to do. It's who you want to become. And you can see yourself as this athlete. You have the sponsorships, the endorsements, you're winning tournaments, races, matches, fights, meets, whatever your sport is. You're actually really living your dream. And you hear me all the time on these episodes talking about how important the mental side of your sport is. But what should you really be working on? What should you really be aware of when you are training? And I'm talking about the mental training for your sport. What is it that you should actually be doing? Because you hear me talk about it all the time. Well, I'm going to give you 7 action steps, 7 ways in which you can work on what you need to be aware of for what you're working on with your mental training, and how you are actually going to implement that. Okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on. So there's 7 ones that I'm going to talk to you about. So the first one, I'm just going to run through them very quickly just so that you know what they are, and then I'll talk about what to do for each. So number 1, self-talk. Number 2, confidence. Number 3, motivation. Number 4, visualization. Number 5, concentration. Number 6, consistent effort, and number 7, evaluation. So let's talk about self-talk. What is self-talk? Well, self-talk is what you're actually saying to yourself, isn't it? It's how you speak to yourself. And if you speak to yourself poorly, then no matter how hard you try, you're still going to hold yourself back. It's because of the language that you use in which you speak. So if you say, oh, come on, you suck, you're so bad, told you can't do it, see, you've done it wrong again, see, you always do that on this particular thing. It's not the way to handle it, my friend. It is not the way to handle it. We need to make sure that you're changing that language, changing the way in which you speak to yourself. And you can say things simple. It's so simple, but it's training yourself to do that. And you can say things like, I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to focus on this moment. I'm going to do the best I can in this moment. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying. Good try. Let's see if we can make the next one better. Right? So if you notice that you're going down that path of speaking poorly to yourself, because it's so easy to do, I see it all the time. I have the older generation that I work with regards from a golf point of view. They're saying it all the time. A lot of negative words coming out, and they wonder why that they're being held back all the time. I see it in young athletic sport as well. I've been there as well. You say negative things to yourself, you're going to hold yourself back. It's just that's what happens to you. So you've got to reset what you're actually saying to yourself. You can't anymore say to yourself, it's just not good enough, or shake your head. Okay, let's go. Let's keep trying. Good try. Try again next time. Let's see if we can make it better. Right? You've got to find that language that's going to help you move forward, that's positive. You're not critical of yourself. You're actually moving in the direction where you want to go, because it's so easy to do the opposite. It's so easy to to speak poorly to yourself. It's so easy to do that, especially when you have these high expectations. Like I said, I see it all the time. So change the language. Do the best you can. Focus on this moment. Do the best you can in that moment. Keep going. Keep trying. Okay? Keep saying those things to yourself. Number 2, confidence. So when are we confident? We're confident when we feel good about things, aren't we? We feel like we can take on the world and we have all this confidence. But what is confidence? Well, confidence is a belief that you can rely on something. So that's that good old belief thing again. That's what I keep talking about. You've heard me talk about it all the time. I've written about it in my book, Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life. You can get that book for free, by the way. So go to tiffanymica.com/free book. But it's talking about belief, isn't it? Where you get, when you have that ultimate belief in yourself, that's where the confidence is. Again, that comes back from the self-talk, doesn't it? So how do you gain confidence? Well, how you gain confidence is you work on your belief system. And that's what we do in the Get Focused Academy. We work on building that belief system. So how do you work on your belief system? Well, the first step is self-talk, isn't it? You've got to be aware of how you're speaking to yourself, just in general. You've got to be aware of how you're speaking to yourself when you practice. You've got to be aware of how you're speaking to yourself when you train. You've got to be aware of how you speak to yourself when you're competing. Because I want you to think of it this way. Rather than putting yourself each time down because something doesn't work, why don't you say, oh, come on, Tiff. Come on, Rebecca. Come on, Olivia. Come on, Mimi. Come on, let's go. Let's keep trying. Let's do the best we can in this moment. Because the moment that you encounter when you train, the moment when you encounter when you practice, the moment when you encounter when you compete, it's a new moment in your life. Right? So every time that new moment comes up, it's new, isn't it? That's our future. Every new moment is a new moment. So don't let the previous moments dictate the future moments, especially if you're coming from that negative perspective, that negative place, that negative self-talk, those negative thoughts. Utilize those previous moments to help complement the future moments so that you're coming from a positive place. Because belief is this. Belief is your thoughts. It's what you believe is true. That's as simple as that. That's what your beliefs are. So if you believe it's true that you're going to do poorly, you're right. If you believe the truth that you're going to do well, you're right. Right? That's the difference between being confident and being not confident. It's all deep into that belief system of what you believe is true for you. So what are you going to do to believe in you? How do you develop that belief in you? How do you develop that belief and trust in your skills? Because if you don't work on that, if you don't work on that self-talk, which is what we're talking about in the first one, that's where you're going to be held back. That's where you're going to lack confidence. So we need to make sure that we're building that belief in you. You're changing the way in which you speak to yourself, because it's so crucial that we're developing your confidence. Okay? Absolutely crucial. Number 3, motivation. So a few weeks ago, I talked to you about motivation. I talked to you about the 3 approaches to motivation. So what does motivate you? This is the approaches that I was talking about. Is it the fact that you're goal-driven, like it's the dream that you're working on that's driving that motivation? So you won't rest until you've actually reached that goal. Is that where the motivation comes from? You're just going to keep going until you get there, achieving that ultimate dream? Or is it a situation that you place yourself in that drives you? You know, like when you're in competition mode, is that what motivates you to do well? Or when you're going to those training sessions that you absolutely love, is that what motivates you to do well? Or is it the practice sessions that build the confidence in your technique? Is that what motivates you? Because what I want you to do here is I want you to use what motivates you to show up and bring out the best in you every time you can. Each time you show up, do the best that you can do, but utilize those situations that you know that you are going to feel motivated by. Embrace them and work with them. Okay? Number 4, visualization. Visualization is referred to as imagery as well. But what do you want to do here in visualization is you want to be visualizing yourself performing or competing in your sport. So whether you play tournaments or it's matches or races or fights, whatever your sport is, you want to be visualizing yourself in those moments. And what I mean by that is like when you're competing in your mind, you want to get really clear on the movements in your head. You want to get clear at the atmosphere that's created around you. You want to get clear on the smell and the touch of everything that you're doing. You want to place yourself there mentally, even though you're not there physically. You want to place yourself there mentally. So when you're in those moments and you can feel yourself there in those moments, you're focusing on each aspect, because when you focus on those aspects in how you're competing, it becomes more real in your mind, in your subconscious mind. So the more you do that, the more repetition that you're visualizing, when you're actually in that physical situation that comes up, your mind's going to say, I've been here before. When you're actually in that actual physical moment doing that specific skill or performing in that specific sport or competing, at that high level that you want to compete at. Because that will give you the confidence. So what you want to make sure that what you're doing here is you're rehearsing on a consistent basis what you want to perform or how you want to perform in your sport. So you need to visualize that so we can get it very clear in your mind, right? Clear on those moments, clear on the skills, clear on the atmosphere, feel like you can touch and feel everything. Number 5, concentration. What is concentration? Well, what concentration is it's focusing on all of your attention on what you're actually doing. Again, all about being in the moment, right? That's where your complete concentration is. So this will depend on what you're focusing on and how you can put your attention on what you're doing. So your mind can easily wander. Random thoughts can easily pop into your head. But what you want to be able to do here with the focus so that you can help increase your concentration levels is you want to bring your mind back from the wander. You want to train yourself to let go of those random thoughts. It's how you can stay and keep yourself in that present moment that's going to help you improve your concentration. So how can you do that? You're like, yeah, Tiff, okay, I get that. But how do I concentrate? Simple thing, I've talked about it many times before, meditation. And what meditation really is, it's a breathing exercise in simple form. And what you want to be doing is you're teaching yourself to actually stay in the moment. And I find this so powerful. Like, it's so powerful to be in the moment, but you've got to train yourself to do that because it's so easy to wander off. It's so easy to think about what you're going to do after you finish your competition. It's so easy to think about what you're going to do at the end of training. It's so easy to think about other things. Other thoughts do pop into your head. You're like, where did that come from? So I recorded not so long ago an episode on how to stay calm, and you were listening to the most beautiful music, and it was about you breathing with it, isn't it, that music? If you haven't listened to it yet, make sure that you use that because that's going to help you with your meditation as well. But what you do with that is you you teach yourself to be able to breathe with the music. You gain the timing, and you start getting in sync with the music. It's quite beautiful, and what it does, it helps calm you down. But by calming you down, it helps you also focusing on staying, that's it, in the moment, like what I keep talking about. So what you want to be able to do is, once you're working through that, this is when you transfer what you're doing there and teaching yourself to stay in the moment just by doing simple breathing. You can teach yourself to stay in the moment when you're practicing. Right, focusing on being just in that moment when you're practicing in your sport. Focusing on just being there in that moment when you're training. Nothing else matters. You're there. Like, you're totally present. When you compete, the same thing. You're totally there. You're not thinking about what happened before. You're not thinking about what's happening in the future. You're just there in the moment, executing and doing the best that you can in those moments. Because you'll find through the repetition of doing this will transfer you mentally into competing better. It'll transfer you mentally into training better. It'll transfer you mentally into practicing better. Okay, this is all designed to help you become the athlete you want to become, right? So let's do these things. I can talk about them all day, all year, every year. Because these are the things that you've got to do. It's the fundamentals. Number 6, consistent effort. Repetition is the mother of all skill, is what Tony Robbins always says. I completely agree. You should completely agree. You know that through your sport because it's the repetition of doing those skills. The Compound Effect, a fantastic book to read. I thoroughly recommend that you read that. It's what that actually means. The compound effect is doing things on a regular basis, which gets results over a period of time. But the thing is that I want you to understand, you don't always see the results on a daily basis, even though that you're consistently showing up. But over time, you'll see those results appear. So when you're visualizing regularly, when you're meditating regularly, when you're working on your belief system regularly, when you're working on your positive self-talk regularly, when you're working on your motivation regularly, you will see over a period of time the results will appear because you've put the effort in. And in saying that too, the same happens in a negative, like you get a negative consequence. If you're consistently not practicing, if you're consistently not training, if you're consistently not meditating, if you're consistently speaking to yourself poorly, if you're consistently not motivated, you're going to get the results as well, but it won't be the results that you're actually looking for. It will have a negative effect on you. So make sure that you want this. Make sure that you visualize regularly, meditate regularly, work on your belief system regularly, positive self-talk regularly, motivate yourself regularly, okay? So that you're getting those results. Not going to happen on a daily basis. You don't see that all the time happening on a daily basis. You see that over a period of time, hence the compound effect. And number 7, evaluation. What you want to do here is you want to take the time to evaluate yourself on a weekly basis, because then you'll know where you're at. So things in what I've just explained to you on what you can be working on to improve that mental side in your sport, you can do these. You can rate, how is your self-talk this week? Rate it out of 10. How is your confidence this week? Rate it out of 10. How is your motivation this week? Rate it out of 10. How is your visualization this week? Rate it out of 10. How is your concentration this week? Rate it out of 10. How is your consistent effort this week? Rate it out of 10, right? How would you rank them? Think about that, because that's going to give you that feedback, which is what evaluation is, so that you're going, okay, well, I didn't do this, this, and this well last week, and I did this, this, and this really great. These are the things I'm going to focus on next week, and I'm going to consistently do the other things that I was doing really well at. I'm going to keep going with that as well. right? We need to look back and evaluate what's going on so that we need to know what we've got to work on to improve. Don't expect the results to happen if you're not putting the effort in. You're going to get some form of result, but it's not going to be the result that you're after. So make sure that you do that. Because remember, once you're ranking these things each week, once you know what you're doing, once you're more aware of what's going on, then you know what needs to be worked on to get that improvement. Okay? So you've got a bit of work here to do, haven't you? Working on the mental side. Some simple things to do: visualization, meditation, belief system, positive self-talk, motivation, and doing it on a consistent basis. When you're doing all of that, then you evaluate it at the end of each week. Then you start scoring yourself or rating yourself out of 10, and then look at what you can improve and what you can consistently do even better than what you've done the week before. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard today. If you've got friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, I would love it too if you could share these episodes with your friends so we can build the successful athlete community as big as we possibly can. And I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Don't go anywhere, just hang on. Don't go anywhere. Let's crush it when we compete. Come on. Have you signed up yet for the Successful Athlete Masterclass? We look at what's holding you back, what skills you will need to succeed, and how to accomplish your sports goals. Go to tiffanymica.com/Sam. Look forward to seeing you there. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Let's crush it when you compete.